So thank you all for joining us today. I want to introduce Dan Halme. He is our chair for the accreditation committee and also one of the first to get accredited. And then Jackie Meiluta is our program manager. She's the one that helps you through the process. And so I'm going to let them take it from here.
Well, good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I've got a PowerPoint we've put together here. Let's see here. So with this PowerPoint, if you guys have got questions, I'm going to kind of pause in between each one of these. So if there's some question or comment you want to add to this, feel free and jump in, and we can kind of talk about them each slide or as we go along here. So this presentation is sponsored by IAS and MBCEA and its continuing efforts to share the important aspects and benefits of becoming AC478 accredited. The AC478 accreditation is a commitment to quality through personnel, experience, safety, and management procedures. AC478 provides a competitive edge for all levels of metal building contractors using documented and systematic ways to market their efficiency. AC478 is a total project assurance, starting with the manufacturer that is accredited and then ending with a contractor committed to quality assembly of the metal building. But within the accreditation program, there always becomes some doubts, and these will need to be dispelled to prove the validity of the program. AC478 accreditation cost is tiered specifically to fit the needs and budgets of all ranges of companies based on their size and capabilities, from the smallest to the largest. Minimal initial investments will put things in motion to get companies' house in order to pass their IAS assessment. AC478 can actually save you money that otherwise would have been lost by not getting accredited. The program will assist implementing operational standards and quality metrics, establish tracking, checklist, and maintenance programs, and can help monitor safety and training certifications. All this will equate to money saved. AC478 can reduce delays due to poor planning, can avoid missing out on projects with accreditation requirements, and helps make sure the personnel are properly trained, all this equating to more money saved. The program can help avoid having the wrong people on a project, fines and injuries, as well as lost work for not meeting a project requirement. All these items totaling up to money saved by being AC478 accredited. Let's debunk a few more myths about AC478 regarding the time needed and the personnel to achieve the accreditation. The time needed will vary based on a company's current file management quality programs already in place. But typically, wouldn't expect this to exceed more than 60 hours to fill the gaps for initiating accreditation requirements. A business can utilize many of their current procedures to become accredited, such as project management, safety, training, and general record keeping. AC478 is for maintaining the most minimal of procedures and largely about proper document management and quality. Still not convinced? Worried it's too much paperwork, it's not needed, or there's no value in all this trouble? Well, let's disprove a few more of these myths. We all know that certification requirements for projects are on the rise. Architects and spec writers are looking for requirements that can help assure their owners they're getting the best for their projects. More often, we're seeing that the evidence of these quality programs is being required to even bid work. Being accredited now will give you a competitive edge in this industry. The program goals are simple: sell more metal buildings, promote the metal building industry, and enhance your company's reputation. Erectors and companies that are already committed to quality and safety will make it easy to achieve AC478. In addition, the MBCEA offers guidance to members and various member services. The program established a standard to be used in the industry that's written by and for metal building erectors. Program costs should be considered similar to buying a piece of equipment or any other means of improving operational efficiency. AC478 is about documenting more effectively and efficiently many of the things you're already doing. The program establishes consistency, improves processes, and increases productivity. Through documentation, it promotes high quality results. AC478 is a game-changing investment versus not doing it right the first time. So this is where we have some jazzy music, but I don't have it for you today. So this is that's the PowerPoint. For more information, visit the MBCEA website. Click on the accreditation link as noted. We look forward to hearing from you and assisting your company to achieve AC478 accreditation. If you guys have questions or comments?
Not at this time, I don't know.
I have one more slide I'm going to put up here for Jackie. And then Jackie can take it away.
Let's see if I can do that. You have to stop sharing, Dan, and then I can start sharing.
Sorry, Jackie, I didn't catch that. What was that?
You need to hit the stop share button so that I can share.
Okay, I got you. Stop share. There we go.
So I always worry when I have two screens that you're looking at the right screen. So you should be seeing the MBCEA website right now. And all I did was went to the members only area, which takes you here. We're going to click here to access resources. I'm going to go quick because I don't want to bore anyone, but I just want you to know what's in here and how to use it. And then if you have questions, we can talk about them. And if you want more information, we can either do it on this call or you can reach out to me privately. So once you're in the members only area, I mean, we're constantly, Sasha is fine tuning and making it better all the time. But it's looking pretty good right now. In this section under documents and templates, there are tons of forms and documents and templates that have been provided by other MBCEA members. So if you need a checklist, if you need a form, if you need something that you think you want, see what's in here. They're not PDFs, they're in the original Word or Excel, so you can download them, change out the Thomas Phoenix label and put your own brand on it, tweak it a little bit and make it your own. But right now we're going to click on these accreditation resources. We set this section up with numbers because we're going to go through this everything you need to know document, and everything refers back to a number. And if it's number 5, then it's referring to this document here. So these are some sample SOPs. So a sample SOP for a temporary visitor on the job site, a subcontractor, control of documents, whatever you might need. It's all there. You can cut and paste it in. This step-by-step to accreditation, everyone kept saying they wanted me to make a checklist. So I tried to make it on one page. So it's kind of an eyesore. But it takes you through what you need to do. I wouldn't do this first because I think you'd get overwhelmed with the details, but know that it's there. And it's a good way to just keep checking yourself as if you have everything. I want to look at this document. Sorry. This everything you need to know document. Hopefully this answers all your questions. And if it doesn't, that's why I'm here. Sometimes it's easier to talk to me directly. We explain the difference between accreditation versus certification. We all are more comfortable with the word certification, so we say that. But really, a certification is for an individual, accreditation is for a company. And that's the bottom line difference. There are 2 documents that govern the program. Again, MBCEA does not manage the program. We just were instrumental in developing it and think it's important for our members, so we're here to help you. But the International Accreditation Service, it's their program. And they have these 2 documents. One is called the criteria and one is the rules of procedure. You can get them from the IAS website, but on that page, there are items 8 and 9. So we just have to download them from the MBCEA website. 2 main requirements to the system. You have to have a written management system that we'll talk about in a few minutes, and you have to allow for job site assessments. And they're only 1 a year, so 1 job, 1 assessment a year. It's not like they're coming to every job, they're randomly showing up. It's 1 job, and it's at a mutually convenient time. So when you first apply, you go to the IAS website and click the button to request a quote. Of course, they want your money. Once they have your money, they're going to start talking to you. Our contact or liaison for this program is Walter Mershon. Walter will ask you for your management system, a copy of your safety program, your training program, and then some other things like your insurance declaration pages. You tell them you have 20 crew members, they'll randomly pick 2 or 3 and say, send me all their training records. We want to see them for these couple of people. All that's done electronically, and that could take anywhere from 30 days to 90 days. Then the big deal is the job site assessment. And I know I went through that fast. We're going to talk about the management system, but I don't like to get bogged down on that in the beginning because that's normally the most confusing part of it. At the IAS assessment, sorry, my dog's barking. It is mutually agreeable, time and place. So you pick the job. Of course, you want to pick a job that you know is going well, that you're comfortable with. But it also needs to have sufficient activity for a proper review. If Walter comes and the building's done and you're just showing him a beautiful building, sure, we're all proud of our beautiful buildings, but he's not assessing anything. And if he gets there before you've even started the job and you just talk about what you're going to do, he's not seeing you in action. So you do need to pick the right time and place. When he comes, this is what he's going to check. Those electronic documents that you went back and forth on, he might ask to see some of the originals. He'll give you that heads up ahead of time. He knows that you don't necessarily have everything at the job site. But this is the heart of the program. We expect a site-specific plan is developed and implemented for every single job. Now, of course, he's only checking one job, but he is going to want to see that site-specific plan. And the site-specific plan is defined in great detail in the criteria. So all the line items that go into a plan. He's going to review that JSAs were developed and are being used for this job site. Different parts of the country call JSAs different things, but their job safety analysis, job hazard analysis, everyone comfortable with what they are. And of course, there are sample JSAs in the members only area. They're going to validate that 50% of the people on that job that work for you are in compliance with your documented training program. So if you say that all of your people have X, Y, and Z, is 50% of those people must have X, Y, and Z. But it's your program. Thomas Phoenix might have 5 items and you only have 4 items. That doesn't mean theirs is better or worse. You're held accountable for what you say you do. I hope that's clear. They're going to verify that 25%, 1/4 of the on-site personnel meet the definition of a journey worker. Again, the journey worker is defined. Doesn't mean that you have to have a formal apprenticeship program. Doesn't mean that you're a union company. It means that you have someone that's got so many years of experience and so much training under his belt, and that is defined. They're going to validate that you have checklists in use. We don't specify what types of checklists or how many checklists. We just know that it's best practice in all industries, whether you're a pilot or a surgeon or a steel building erector, to use checklists to make sure that your quality is under control. We're going to verify that an engineer signed off on the concrete, and that if welds have been performed, that you have a welder cert and continuity loggable. That's what's going to happen at your on-site assessment. And frankly, I don't think that that's too scary. Hopefully you guys don't either. So now let's talk about that management system that seems to be the big bugaboo for everybody. In simple language, it's a set of policies, processes, and procedures used by an organization to ensure that you can fulfill the tasks required to achieve your objectives. We provide a template management system. It's item 6 in the downloads. It was written in such a way to be very generic, but to fulfill the core requirements of AC478. My advice is, don't overthink this in year 1. Use the MBCEA template. And then as you get the program under your belt and you start to realize the power of continuous improvement and plan, do, check, act, Then you'll start to modify and tweak and rewrite that management system. But for year one, use the basic one. So again, the management system is the formal document that states what, when, and how, and who for your company with regards to AC478. You are assessed on what you say you do. So the goal of the program is to define what you do and then to do what you say and to have continuous improvement built in. So a lot of things like your training program, your safety manual, your management system itself, they're required to have at a minimum an annual review. So once a year, Joe Allen at Thomas Phoenix sits down with their safety plan and other members of the safety committee and reviews that document. Is this still pertinent? Has anything changed? Are there new OSHA regs we got to comply with? Do we want to tweak this a little bit? It's okay to say no changes as long as you went through the exercise of having the review. And then sometimes you're always going to be, modifying and tweaking a little bit. The other thing that throws people for a loop is the IAS talks about a cross-reference matrix. And in the couple of years that I've been doing this, people overthink this. They get overwhelmed by the matrix. It's just a cheat sheet. So one column is everything that the IAS requires, and the other column is where in your management system they can find that. Page 2, paragraph 3. Page 4, paragraph 1. All it is a cheat sheet to help Walter do his homework, basically. And that's item 7 in the download section. The criteria, when you read that document, it opens with a series of definitions. By all means, read all of them. But these are the ones that you really want to make sure that you understand and you're on the same page. Also, item number 8 in the downloads. And then subcontractors, a lot of people ask about subs. And one of you on the call I know does not self-perform, that you're a contractor. The program was written in such a way that subcontractors are absolutely fine. We just all want to be transparent about the process. So we don't want a contractor to get AC478 accredited and then sub out to people that don't adhere to the same level of safety and quality, and basically win the job based on that brand that he has AC478. If you use subcontracted labor, you have to document how you ensure the subs comply with your safety and training program. And then if you're going to subcontract all or a significant portion of your job, you have to have a procedure to inform your client in writing. So maybe you never do the roofing and you have a subcontractor that you use for the roofing. Somewhere in your contract document, you would just need a footnote that said, we will be using XYZ roofer and they are not AC478 accredited. And that's it. So the real goal here is that there's integrity in the program. AC478 requires document control. Many small businesses, we write a new safety document, a new form, a new checklist based on the needs of a contract that was awarded. So maybe you're doing a job for a big company like a pharmaceutical company or a public government job, and they want a bunch of stuff. And then your next job doesn't require that stuff, so you don't use that. We don't want your employees to be confused about which documents are boss. So you need to have some sort of document control procedure. And I've given you a SOP for that. I mentioned checklists. At a minimum, PPE and equipment checklists, but there's a whole bunch of other checklists in there. They are best practice and we encourage them. There is also a very extensive, I guess is the right word, checklist for the complete assembly. And I urge you to take a look at that one. You might want to not use it day one, but you might want to strive to get to it. It's a good checklist. Dan can speak more about that when I'm through this last slide or two, because I know he uses it at his company. AC478 assumes that you have 3 people, but they don't have to be 3 separate people. They can be one person, they're 3 jobs. A quality manager, a training manager, and a safety manager. They have to have the appropriate level of training, authority, and experience to perform each of those jobs. And because those jobs are so critical, they report directly to the highest level of authority, namely the president or the owner. These are the quality manager responsibilities. Again, those internal audits once a year, organize the annual review. Training manager, you have to have a documented training program. The only thing that AC478 requires is OSHA 10 and use of the MBI Quality and Craftsmanship Training Series. Other than that, it's whatever you say it is. Item 3 is a whole PowerPoint on understanding the training requirement. So again, pay special attention to that definition of a journey worker. OSHA 10 for anyone with 1 year of experience at your company, and passing grades on the MBI Quality and Craftsmanship Series. Item 4 in the members area is a sample training program. Adopt it as it is or tweak it. You don't have to. Your program has to have these 2 elements, and that's it. But you got to be able to meet the definition of a journey worker. You have to have a system for storing and maintaining your records. Paper's fine. Your safety manager is responsible for having a documented safety program to make sure it's reviewed annually and to make sure those job site specific plans are developed for each job. He's going to develop and implement the JSAs and review it annually. Sorry, that feels like a duplicate slide there. Dan touched on this in the PowerPoint, but no fees come to MBCEA. IAS has structured their fees around crew size. I think you should expect to pay about $4,500 a year, and that includes the time and travel with your on-site assessment. IAS doesn't bill that separately. That's built into their fee. OSHA 10 fees are whatever they are. I know in MAD, you guys sometimes are able to do that for free as a chapter event. MBI Quality and Craftsman is about 110 per employee. So you have to figure out what it's going to cost you, but Dan's PowerPoint said for year 1, you might spend up to 10 grand. After that, it should be less. First 4 years, they're coming to your job site. And then starting in the 4th year, they'll just come every other year. And that's it. I'm going to stop sharing because I'd rather see your faces than my computer screen. And Dan and Joe and I are happy to answer any questions. So then I'll speak at once.
Okay, let's see. All right, yeah, all right. I can see that I'm not muted. Okay, one of my questions, of course, is going to be, you're going through the process, and obviously the first time out the gate, I don't expect to get 100%. So the question being is after the site visit and all that stuff is done, at that point, what would be, let's say you come back and there's some documentation that had to be adjusted or corrected or something. At that time, is that something that is just has to be submitted as a correction thing, or do you just basically have to wait and do it next year?
Absolutely not. It's they will continue to work with you until you pass. So and Joe and Dan can speak to like their experience the last few years, but the goal of the program is if they find that something isn't strong enough, isn't well documented, or you're deficient, they'll give you 30 days to fix it. And so you don't pass until you pass, but you never fail, if that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess you could fail if you were completely incompetent, but I don't think you'd be doing it. So,
Yeah, I can speak to that a little bit. And I think the people that I talk to, which is quite often about accreditation and some of the roadblocks, this seems to be one of the major points is the fear of failing, paying the money and then failing. And it's just like Jackie's already said, it's not a pass or fail inspection. It's an assessment. And if they find something that you can't correct at the assessment, you would just walk away with one note that just needs to be done. And that can be done totally electronically most of the time. They don't have to come back out and take another look at it. You find the paperwork or the document that they're looking for, you send it over to Walter, and he's going to pass the assessment based off that. So there's no having to come back, pay another fee or anything like that. It's real basic from that standpoint. I think from my own experience, and I think Joe could probably say this too, our first assessment, we were pretty nervous about it. There were some things that were missing. We just sat down and identified the item, and in several cases got up, went over to another office, said, hey, can you find this document or make this document? And went back to work on the assessment, and 5-10 minutes later, maybe even an hour later, depending on the complexity, this document is then then available and it's checked off, and you continue. It's no longer needed. So we found that it's so painless, really, to get into this thing and find out you're missing something that they want to see. That yeah, I think if the average company realized how easy that really is, they would be much more assured or at rest about the assessment process. So I think it's often overthought, and that's the best I can say on that is don't worry about it. You can make your way through it. Obviously the program has to be met. There is some metrics to it, but you can figure it out and get it figured. I mean, get the adjustments made on the fly most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree that it is not pass fail like Jackie's saying, although with the caveat that if it's obvious to the inspector that you are merely trying to get a piece of paper and not following through with it, he's going to be more particular and ask for I mean, Walter is very thorough to begin with. So if you're making a good faith effort to do it 100%, you're going to pass. If you're trying to just upload all the documents and not actually be carrying it through, which is the goal of the accreditation, then you may never get there. But as long as you're making progress, he's going to give you some notes and say, we need things. And for us now, I forget how many years it's been, 5-6 years, something like that, Jackie. The thing that I fail almost every year is I've got one or two guys that went a couple weeks or a month past when they were supposed to be trained on something. And the simple fact is I get them in the office and it kicks me in the butt every year to make sure that that's up to date. In our management system, I have an Excel file that keeps track of when everyone's trained, when they're supposed to be trained, et cetera. And I think it's a good example that you don't have to be, if you're 100% perfect in everything you do, I think you're cheating. I agree. We have plenty of issues all the time and questions for Walter, and he needs to be the way he is to a degree because to make sure that people are doing what they say they're doing. And that is the entire gist of it. Write down that you have the organization and the training and do it. And that yearly inspection or that yearly assessment is a reminder to get your ducks in a row. And it's not ever going to be perfect. Don't stress about it. You will get another, you'll keep getting a shot at it until you get it done.
I want to add one other thought to that. The IAS viewed the process as collaborative. I don't think they're allowed to use the word consultative, but most of the companies that go through the process, they get value from spending time with Walter. Like, he's going to give you advice. He's going to give you the benefit of his experience and what other places he's been to, other job sites he's been. They want the program to be successful. They want you to be successful. But like Joe said, it's not just about getting a rubber stamp on a piece of paper. It's about actually doing the work. So.
I'm surprised there's not more confusion. Maybe you've done such a great job of explaining everything, Jackie, because I know when I went through it, I had 8. I mean, it was the early days where we argued about what everything meant, but I'm surprised that's you guys have done a good job of explaining it so far, apparently.
Well, I want to thank everybody for attending. If there aren't any other questions, and Michael, please feel free if you're interested in anything or any additional questions on the side, you can reach out to myself and I'll put you in touch with the right people. And
Yes, ma'am.
thank you all for attending, and we appreciate it. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you now.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.